Good evening, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here. It's a great presentation by Ramesh. In fact, I'm fortunate enough to be groomed under the Anderson partners in my earlier organization, were ex-Anderson. I know the culture of the Accenture and the growth story of the Accenture. It's a pleasure to be invited by the Accenture here. We are all chartered accountants here, and we are in the journey of transforming India. Take it from me. In fact, today we are discussing about the automation, the changes happening in the cognitive solutions. It is just not the industry which is actually looking at automating and artificial intelligence as a choice. It is also the government which is also changing, academics which is also changing, and are we equipped on this front is the first question. Let me put a reality first of all in the picture. We all qualified as chartered accountants. We all read the RTPs, substances, study material of the institute, and with a great knowledge we qualified. But this knowledge what we have is only a fundamentals. A lot of developments happening around the world. My interaction with the policymakers, my interaction with some of the global leaders. In fact, last year I was in World Economic Forum interacting on the ASEAN issues. While I was interacting with them, the agenda that they were discussing only is about the disruption because of automation. Many actually fear that they will lose the job. Take it from me, you will not lose the job provided you have two things. One is critical thinking and the inspiration and motivation to work. Critical thinking and creative thinking will never go away because that's required every day, and that's required in any organization. Are you in that part of business is the first question. Now why I'm stressing about the critical thinking and creative thinking is because as a chartered accountants, today we have two options. One, to enter into the practice and move on to the industry. But now when you look at the practice, the way the practice is actually converging, my understanding is by 2022 in India, the practice of chartered accountants actually will decline. Because of the technology disruption, the tax laws are getting streamlined, there is not going to be not much of deductions and exemptions. Only when there was a deductions exemption, only we had the opportunity to plan. And in the name of planning, some kind of advices people are providing for the corporates. These tax planning opportunities will go away because government is much intelligent than chartered accountants. Now what is the role precisely a chartered accountant should play going forward in this country? Especially people who are groomed in India, and India is going to be the global superpower. Why? 70% of in India's population is about 130 crore. I'm sure everybody must be aware. Out of 130 crore population, roughly around 70% is a youth population. Actually, many fear that outsourcing business in India will go away. No, the outsourcing in business in India will actually increase multifold. Because in other parts of the world, there is no youth population which can actually cater to the outsourcing business. In India, we have precisely the talent pool. Now the question is, squaring down to the chartered accountants, how are we going to meet all these challenges? Second, simple example, look at the GST transformation that India has got. India is the first federal country in the world to bring this kind of a massive change. Many feel that GST is just a tax reform. No, it is not a tax reform. It is a business reform, it is a technology reform. Because of the reform that is brought under the GST, it's going to re-engineer your indirect tax space. Because today government has data, and I was just interacting with some of the GST Council members last week in Delhi, and I was also interacting with some of the policymakers in Chennai also on that front. When I met them, I asked, what is the government up to? Government is now looking at opening division for data analytics on the tax space. They are also looking at automating many things which already has been done under the GST, GSTR1, GSTR2, GSTR3, everything is automated. Now in the GST, you provide transaction level details every month, invoice-based details. Then you will come back and click what is the current month. For example, next year he reviews. What is the current month? Let's assume it is August. You will click August and see what is the revenue of August for Leela Palace. Then you will click particular day, and then in the particular day you can see the invoice level detail. This is the transformation India is undergoing, my dear friends. And chartered accountants has to evolve for this. This is not a threat, this is an opportunity. We have to move from a glory of just clearing the examination and looking at the local practice. Today, we need to understand the global thought process for the local action and India's thought process for the global action. It's very, very important, and we are partners in nation building. Yes, chartered accountant is a great profession, but we need to charter from good to great. That's very important. My friends in the outsourcing industry, actually, many of them, when they interact with me, they keep speaking about the automation and artificial intelligence coming in and then replacing their job. It is not a myth, it is a reality, and that's what Ramesh also spoke about. But you need to look at alternate career. Now, what is that alternate career that you need to look at? Are you going to be in the process-oriented job? Are you going to move on to the critical thinking and creative space? As a chartered accountant, what is there to create? And what is there for critical thinking is that inclusiveness that has to come right now. Because by 2020, you will see the people who are seeking the job will not seek the job what they are seeking now. It's going to be different. It's going to be different. I'm not sure how many of them track about Industry 4.0. Industry 4.0 getting invented, smart factories coming in, smart people, everything is automated. Ramesh is actually showing about the products, the email campaigning, everything is automated. Today, you can just place a campaign, marketing campaign in the morning time, and you can hit the US market while you are sleeping. That's the kind of automation that's going on. So looking at this space, your CRM to your campaign, everything is integrated today into the technology. Now, before we want to discuss further, let's look at this video. So many says change is the only thing that is permanent, but changing the change is permanent now, and that's going to be the order of the day. And as a chartered accountant today, we transform ourselves to the next level of business leaders. We have to think through a lot of things. For example, today if you look at typically, my understanding of the chartered accountants are, they typically practice, two, they actually go for industry, work in different portfolio of sectors, and they also, some people are in academics. Now, my humble request is, each and every person here, through the continuous professional development, apart from which is happening in the ICI, we need to actually equip ourselves through the certification courses. Because every week or every month, there is a development in the technology. I can put it on record that my interaction with chartered accountants, the technology knowledge, which is actually adventing across globe, has to be provided, or rather they themselves are accepted, they need to get equipped. Because if we are not going to upgrade to the next technology, the next people, that is the millennials who are going to join us in the workforce, will be working with us. So we need to become, when we raise up in the career, we need to become like a mentor, and we need to provide mentorship to these millennials. That means we should acquire the knowledge which is already adventing. That's very, very important. Otherwise, the mentorship role, typically at the leadership level, will be a challenge. I'll also run you through one more video.
Once upon a time, business as usual was often good enough. No more. Where we are going, good enough is dead. In a world where everything is connected, where everything is equally excellent, where performance is reaching perfection, there's only one space left to innovate in: you. Right now, you are a central point in the raging tornado of change fueled by digitization, mobilization, augmentation, disintermediation, automation. Well, the list goes on. Science fiction is becoming science fact. Think about self-driving cars or computers that can learn and think. The way we work will never be the same. The skills we need will be dramatically different. Winning or losing are now happening faster than ever before. So what's your response? How will you discover new opportunities in one of the most transformational times in human history? Are you driving change, or are you being driven by it? Disruption has become the new normal. With change, it's always gradually, then suddenly, well, things really have stopped happening gradually. This change is exponential. Everything that used to be dumb and disconnected is now wired and intelligent. Cars, cities, ports, farms, even our bodies will be wired with sensors and will talk to each other. These game changers are also combinatorial. They amplify each other, creating a perfect storm of change. Quantum computing fuels big data. The Internet of Things fuels artificial intelligence and deep learning, which fuels robotics. However, anything that cannot be digitized or automated will become extremely valuable. Human-only traits such as creativity, imagination, intuition, emotion, and ethics will be even more important in the future, because machines are very good at simulating, but not at being. Yes, robots and software will do some of our work, but this will allow us to focus on things that cannot be automated. To imagine change squared, you've got to start engaging more with what might be, not just with what is. Immerse yourself in the immediate future, 5 to 7 years out from today. We need to go beyond technology and data to reach human insights and wisdom. Technology represents the how of change, but humans represent the why. The future is about holistic business model. The opportunity is to be liquid, to learn just in time, not just in case, not single improvements, but complete transformations, not individual systems, but new ecosystems. Humanity is where true and lasting value is created. We will engage, relate, and buy things because of the experiences they provide, because of their transformative power. The future doesn't just happen. The future gets happened. The new way to work is to embrace technology, but not to become it. The future is in technology, yet the bigger future lies in transcending it. Let's live and lead from here.
The areas of expertise that you might have to possess in the future. Let's take India as a case study. Today, how the digital transformation is happening. Because we need to understand India first. Because we are chartered accountants from India. When we understand India, you will understand the world better. In India, from 2014 onwards, there are a lot of transformation reforms taken by the Prime Minister. I'll tell you one by one. When Prime Minister came to the power, there was problems like domestic manufacturing was suffering, digitization did not penetrate that much, and there were sectors which was untapped, that is your MSME and SME. All these tech sectors are now undergoing a digital transformation. Take it from me. First thing, People, when they talk about Digital India, actually people think it is only brought for the IT companies. No. Digital India is to empower every single citizen of India. And for example, in 2014, the government of India took a statistics. They took a statistics and found that about 1,32,200 post offices were dead. Then they thought of reviving that. Why? In other 5 years, by 2022, we expect that the rural areas are going to contribute 65% of e-commerce business. Because for that, the infrastructure is your post offices. The government revived these post offices. They have given small bank licenses, and all the speed posts, which you feel that it's not speed, it is going to be tremendously speed in the near future. Because all these rural products, what the people are producing, will get into the e-platform. Already the plans are on. For that, the Digital India is also playing a major role. About 1,58,000 kilometers, the government of India has laid the optical fiber cables because of trade. And government is also bringing a lot of policies towards digital campaigning, and government is also supporting the rural people through National Digital Literacy Mission. So each and every citizen is getting digitally empowered. And when each and every citizen is digitally empowered, whatever the transaction he enters into, or whatever the business he does, commerce he does through digital platform, it's all data. Today, we have to believe in God and also data. God and data are the things we are going to trust in the future. So looking at this, there's a lot of data getting captured. When everybody is now brought under the inclusive space, that's where the role of the chartered accountant is going to be there. And the digitization is going to give a lot of advantage. And the Prime Minister says that, talks about champions of change. Who is the champions of change? Each and every talent pool in India is a champion of change. He can enter the workforce, or he can become an entrepreneur, or he can get into the governance or the policy making. So each of these people are champions of change, and chartered accountants are also included in it. Look at all these plans of the government of India. Everything is an opportunity for chartered accountants. For example, look at a company like Paytm. Today, when the Paytm was started, it was just a small company. Today, it has transformed the entire space of digital payments. And government of India is replicating that kind of model through BIM app. So that means every disruption is going to change the way that we look at the business, and transactions are now getting into the bank, and financial inclusion is the buzzword of the government. For information, the JAM, that is Jandan, Aadhaar and Mobile, is a great disruption that has happened in the country. Today about 27 crore families are connected in the Jandan, and Aadhaar is about 113 crore people have Aadhaar card out of 130 crore population. And mobile is about, the statistics what I have is about 400 million, and the normal, apart from the smartphone, I'm talking about the smartphone segment, which is 400 million, and the normal mobile comes to about 900 million people have phone connections in India, and this is the great opportunity for the chartered accountants. In fact, I'll tell you how it's a great opportunity, and also conclude what are the skills that we need to actually take up while we are actually working on these sectors as well as working on the industrial sector. And Mudra Bank, financing the unfinanced, is also the journey that the government has taken. You might believe that today all the companies which has over a period of time grown, for example, be it Google, be it Microsoft, it was all MSME, small company which was started in a dorm. Today these companies are global companies. That means there is a requirement for each and every chartered accountants to think about the MSME sector. Not only that, the government is also thinking about it. Why? This sector is not financed in India. Today, what sector is financed is the corporate sector or the formal sector is financed. This informal sector was never brought under the financial inclusion. So government of India brought this Mudra Bank, which is actually financing the unfinanced, in which there are about Sishu, Tarun and Kishore. So financial inclusion is also happening at a fast track manner. Financing to all these MSME and SME is already happening. Government has disposed about 4 lakh crores already. So a lot of other things, Skill India. Today we have to accept that skills are very much required. Let me put across a simple statement provided by Honorable Minister, Mr. Raju Pratap Rudy. He said, today we have a lot of engineers, but we don't have drivers. Today we have a lot of engineers, we don't have school teachers. Today we have engineers, we don't have gardeners. And he also went on to say that we have mechanical engineers, but they don't know how to repair the automobile, their own vehicles engine. We have civil engineers who don't know how to raise a small wall. A mason can do that. And 3, we have today electrical and electronic engineer, but he does not know how to change the tube light in his own home itself. So this is the talent we have. We have education certificate, but we have to improve upon this skill. That's where the Skill India squarely comes, and this Skill India is also applicable to chartered accountants. Because we graduate out of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India with the best of the knowledge. To remain the best, we need to move with the disruption. We need to move with the latest happening. So not only we should know about economics, not only we should know about taxation, we should also know about the technology space, because over a period of time, technology will converge with regulation and the result is going to be automation. Technology is going to converge with the regulations. Be it accounting standards, be it tax, be it your consulting space. Ramesh was making a valid statement. He was talking about that medical transcription, where artificial intelligence are going to be used for giving advices. And definitely, if the medical advices can be provided through artificial intelligence, and tax advices are said to be, we need to equip ourselves to understand this technology. And Startup India, a lot of things are happening in the government, which I think every chartered accountant should keep track of. So India is transforming, so should we, and are we transforming ourselves? And gone are the days people are going to tell, I work in the same company, in the same job, in the same seat for 35 years or 40 years. That's not going to be the buzzword. And they're going to say, this is what is a learning I had for the past 30 years. Somebody is going to come out from the workforce when he retires. He's not going to say, I work for the company. He is going to say, my learning for the past 30 years is so much because of the latest happening. I am the best mentor for the youth of the country. That's going to be the profile in which people are now looking at. Let me show one more video. How India is going to be transformed. Volume, please. Volume. Please look at this video. This is a very important thing.
This is a story of India versus India. One India is standing in the queue since hours, while the other one has already set out for work long back. One India is content with theoretical knowledge, while the other one is tapping the global knowledge bank. One India is miles away from the government, while the other one interacts with the government many times a day. One India suffers the problem of choked lines, while the other one is already online. One India is still grappling with the heaps of paper, while the other one has gone paper-free. So why not bring both the India together on a digital platform, so that both government and citizens can go online? So that we don't have to put aside our jobs, studies or home to stand in queues. So that our blood pressure and the petrol gauge remains normal. So that we don't need to sweat and waste our time. So let's together make a digital India. Power to empower. Our Honorable Prime Minister has always envisaged every scheme with an approach to empower the citizens. An example of this empowerment is JAM, Jan Dhan, Aadhaar and Mobile. Another major step towards empowerment is the Digital India Mission. If we are to take this mission to every corner of India, the first prerequisite would be the digital identity of every citizen in the country. This is already being done through the allotment of Aadhaar cards. Once every citizen has a digital identity, he would need digital connectivity to avail all the services. And this would mean mobile phone for every citizen. Having achieved this, we now welcome all the citizens to the digital world. Now you will be able to submit any application online from anywhere. No need to go places, stand in queues or depend on middlemen. For there will be an E-sign. that will ensure the safety and security of submitted applications. Having completed the submission, what about the required supporting documents? Now for this procedure too, you won't have to run from pillar to posts, making copies and true copies. You can do all this online through the digital locker. Once your important documents are stored in digital locker, they can be accessed from anywhere. They can be shared too with anyone at any time. And should you require to make payments, you will be able to do this through the online payment facility, PayGov, where your payment can be tracked through your Jan Dhan account. From now on, all government schemes and facilities will be accessible digitally. But what needs to be noted is that all this infrastructure and facilities will only be successful when each and every citizen is made digitally literate. And that is why the government has started a huge class across the country called the National Digital Literacy Mission, wherein around 3 crore people are being provided education on the basics of computers and internet. You can even communicate with the government directly and contribute to the nation's progress through MyGov platform. Digital India has its perks for our farmers too, through the nation's agriculture markets, which will soon be connected through the digital platform. Farmers from rural areas can get online information and online guidance about weather, seeds, fertilizers and much more. A facility which will help to augment their earning and thus improve their lifestyles. Each of these online facilities are set to reach you right at your doorsteps, your office, field, factory, school, college, hospital. With more than 1 billion in population, India is known for its huge imports of electronic goods. But when it comes to manufacturing them, we stand nowhere. But not anymore. Now that we have taken up this mission that will merge with the Make in India initiative, India will soon emerge as an electronic manufacturing hub. This revolutionary movement will empower us to transform our youth into great researchers and innovators in the field of electronics. As skill development too will be promoted through one of the government's largest skill development programs. And this mission will result in the emergence of a digital India that will be self-sufficient and will be poised to take off on a single platform. Transparent, accountable and citizen-friendly.
Here I sign up, let's register and now enter. And we are done with the registration, Bauji. Time to leave for college.
This is the other India that we were talking about. Paper-free, line-free and tension-free. This is Digital India. Power to empower.
And this is the India that we are looking at. And when this is going to happen, the confusions are going to get reduced. Only when there is a confusion with respect to regulations, the role of a chartered accountant comes with respect to interpretations. Now, what is the alternative roles the chartered accountant can take up? The alternative roles, or rather, what I suggest for chartered, this is my personal opinion, it's not of the institute or any of the organization I represent. What I foresee as a vision for the chartered accountant is, we need to do some research on each of the areas that is getting advented, which is affecting finance. Now, to put it precisely, today we are very good in interpreting the law, we wrote the examination, we cleared, but later also we started practice or we worked in industry. But over a period of time, we tend to do the monotonous job. But when the new developments are happening, instead of learning, why can't you do research? Because for example, doing research today, Chartered Accountant Institute has actually placed the chartered accountants at par with the postgraduates, where you can do on a part-time basis. When you do that, the organization in which you are working, you can contribute that ideas for the development also. Second thing, I request all the fresh graduates to work in the industry for a while before making any career choice. Because today, when people start practice, there is one thing which they can take up as a career, but people who are looking at the industry, while working in the industry, I humbly request the employees to actually look at themselves as intrapreneurs. That's very, very important. Why intrapreneurs? Everyday's learning should give you the confidence that when you start up in the future, whether you will be able to do that. Or you should do something on your own in the later, when you retire, to the extent where something you can start on your own. That learning curve should increase over a period of time. That's the vision that every chartered accountant should have while you actually get into the workforce and industry. It's not the vision which I am putting across. I closely work with the Prime Minister's office on a lot of policy making things, and when I interact, the vision of the government is to do research. Even before 3 days, the Honorable Prime Minister has clearly said we need to do a lot of research, because research is actually lacking in India, and when you do research, a lot of innovation can happen. Not just outside the organization, but within organization. I'm sure Accenture has a lot of research wing, a lot of spend on the research, and also a thought leadership, which they invest on. And this thought leadership has to be brought out by chartered accountants over a period of time. While they work in the organization, when you become an expert domain, we need to bring thought leadership in the organization, which should actually disrupt the market. Because at the end of the day, we are in consulting space. We should know 10 times more than our clients. That's very, very important. If a client knows 10 and you go with 1, you're not going to win the client. The client knows 10, we need to know 100. That's the vision in which we need to work. And I showed you about the transformation that is happening on the digital India space within India. But there is also going to be something called Industry 4.0, which I highlighted to you, where precisely your manufacturing. Put it in a simple way, the Make in India is also going to be automated in the future. Robotics are going to take up. Then the next question that will come, sir, if everybody loses job, who will take care of the economy? Consumption has to happen. At the end of the day, consumption should happen. Let's assume 90% of the jobs are replaced by robotics. Then people are not going to be paid salaries. Then how are you going to consume? Because part of the economy will function only when you consume. So the market economy will take care. You don't need to worry. All that you need to worry is what learning we can have. Apart from our chartered accountants CP, which is premium CP study circles which happen, apart from the CP learning what we have, each and every people in the workforce has to invest, not spend, invest an amount on themselves to improve upon the latest technology even while working in the organization. That's very, very important. Now look at this Industry 4.0. This is a concept which is now emerging. It's already in place. You would have, wherever you are working, if you are from a manufacturing entity, you would have seen that a lot of manufacturing companies are now going for automation. I know myself, before 3 years when I was in the earlier organization, one of the clients came through a foreign direct investment to Chennai. At that time, they projected to the government that they will offer so much of employment in and around Sriperumbudur. But I recently went for the launch of their factory. They invited. When I went there and I asked how many people you provided employment, they said, sir, it's hardly 30% what we projected, because the technologies are now automated. In the factory floor, you hardly find 2 people. They will put all the raw material, the finished product comes, and it also pushes to the truck also. It will automatically push to the truck, and the truck goes, and only the driver is getting the employment out of this process. So this is the kind of disruption happening even in the manufacturing space. You should know about Industry 4.0. Let me run through the video by World Economic Forum.
The original Industrial Revolution was driven by the discovery that you could use steam engines to do all kinds of interesting things.
That was followed by additional revolutions for electricity and computers and communications technology. We're now in the early stages of the 4th Industrial Revolution, which is bringing together digital, physical, and biological systems.
The features of this 4th Industrial Revolution is that it doesn't change what we are doing, but it changes us.
We need a different economic model that will allow us to meet the basic needs of every human on the planet, and that will be focused not on growth per se, but on maximizing human well-being.
We have energy technologies that can power our civilization, but how do we get it and implement it at the scale we need at a price that people around the world can afford?
If we're able to do something to transform cities, to make them more efficient, then the impact can be huge.
We can use asset tracking, we can use IT, we can use 3D printing to decouple growth from the resource constraints we have.
The question of adding quality to quantity, it's really about a diverse, safe, healthy, and just world with clean air, clean water, clean energy.
Together we are fighting to preserve our fragile climate from irreversible damage and devastation of unthinkable proportions.
The prediction projection of 5 million jobs lost by 2020 to technology is serious, but the main question is, how will we define work? How will we share the wealth?
How can you have a doctor that really knows a lot about data? How can you have a biologist that knows about medicine?
We have to create a space that enables people to think freely, to think divergent thoughts, to think creative thoughts.
We really need new education or new training.
We're working with a World in Motion in FIRST Robotics, trying to encourage the students from 3rd grade all the way up through the end of high school to pursue science, math, and different technologies.
This ability of digital technology to change outcomes, to truly empower people that can create a more equitable growth.
Fourth industrial revolution has the potential to make inequalities visible and to make them less acceptable in the future.
I was the first person in the world to be able to voluntarily move my legs while stepping in a robot. The cure will be possible if enough of the right people have the will to make it happen.
We're seeing this incredibly exciting convergence of genome editing, DNA sequencing. Governments have a very important role to play in enabling the safe and effective use of technologies.
We need to take responsibility at every level of society to adapt to these technological challenges, which are redefining what it means to be completely embedded in this world.
Even though we have everyday problems we have to solve, we have to find a way to lay the foundations for the innovations of tomorrow.
People, when I interact with the students, they used to ask me, sir, what is this robotics to do with finance? A simple example is your macros. What is a macro? Macro is an automation. So that automation is happening at the different level. That started at the macros. Now robotics and cognitive solutions are going to be replaced. A simple example I'll tell you. In my earlier organization, we are looking at, I was working in an earlier organization, one of the big fours. We are looking at automating even the transfer pricing reporting in an organization. The transfer pricing returns, what you file, form 3CEB, what you file with the department. The earlier organization is looking at automating it with a robotic and cognitive solution. And MIS reporting. Today many chartered accountants are working in MIS reporting. Now the MIS reporting is getting automated because all algorithms are placed, the programmings are made. So now critically we have to carve out ourselves. It's not too far. Today we need to take a decision over a period of time. We need to carve out to the levels of understanding the business process and move to the creative thinking and critical thinking. That's very, very important, and that's the finance profession is going to undergo change. Change. So what I understand is, as we are the masters of finance, as being a chartered accountant, we need to evolve ourselves to the management level also. And I request all the mentors here to go and advise your juniors who are actually studying in the chartered accountancy to look at industry as a career for a few years before venturing into the practice. Not because they should tend to be in employment forever, but because to understand the global issues, global thought process. Especially while you work in this kind of an organization for initial period, when a person is young, when he picks up this the gamut of development happening around the world, the view that he's going to hold is completely different. And in fact, when I interact with the HR folks, I have good friends in HR, they used to say always, finance people are always dull. They don't smile. These are the views they express. And I used to say, why is that? Why? Just because I'm a finance professional, how can I say I'm dull? I'm narrow-minded. It is an individual trait. There's nothing called DNA of the profession. We need to also equip ourselves with the management roles going forward, because management is all about managing people over a period of time. I think we need to take a call, and even Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, while I was interacting with the present president in one of the meetings, I told we have to graduate our examination system to a different level. Because yes, we wrote the examination, we cleared the examination, but we need to bring in a new system of testing which actually provides a thinking process or a critical process which the industry is expecting. And there cannot be 5 years once curriculum change. There need to be a change in the curriculum every year. It should be an ongoing exercise. If that is expected for the student, that should also be there for the profession. And as a professional, we cannot do everything. So in a chosen field, we need to master ourselves. That's very, very important, without leaving the knowledge of other areas. So breadth in all domains and depth in one is what is going to be the critical thing in the future. So because we have to work with the cross-cultural teams and we have to interact with the other departments, and when you do that only, over a period of time you can become a management professional. Rather, you will get into the level of management. If you choose only a particular area, yes, we need to specialize, but we should, without losing the grip of other areas, we should have the breadth in everything and depth in one area, which is very, very crucial, because chartered accountant has a lot of potential. It can only be translated at the management level. Let's assume somebody works in the industry for 20 years. He just can't remain as a CFO. He should graduate himself to a CEO level, which is possible, and that can only come to a thought process re-engineering by working with the other departments. So that's the view the HR holds, and that's the reason I wanted to convey this. They say that we have to interact more as a chartered accountants, because somewhere down the line, in the institute's curriculum, it's not a campus-based. We study the examination hard and clear the examination with our own potential. But when we graduate to the, when we graduate out and when we go in the organization, we have to work with the people. So there, it's all about interaction, it's all about inspiration, it's all about learning and innovation. Innovation need not be on a product. Innovation on improvement is also an innovation in any organization. Today, if you are able to save some cost for your organization through cost optimization or cost improvement strategies, that's also an innovation. Are we documenting it? That's where, if you want to document it, you need to do research. You need to do research, because everybody here has industry, everybody here have industry talents. But is it becoming a publication? Is it becoming a research? Is it becoming a new area of practice? Is it becoming a tool for advice for the youth who are going to join the profession? That's the question. And we can't expect the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India to come out with a research methodology. It's like each member who should take the initiative to actually co-create with the universities by taking up the research methodology. And so the finance profession is power of the finance and accounting in business is not going to go away, but we need to be on the station making. Responding to the needs of the business is always there, so you are going to have a role. Vision to be different is very, very important. And internationally recognized qualification. As we graduate as chartered accountant, we should also take up some international qualification without affecting our work. For example, CMA can be an option, or some of the global qualification can be an option. CPA can be an option without affecting your industry experiences. You can definitely do some courses to have an international qualification also that makes you a global professional, guaranteeing your career path and continuous professional development, which is very, very important. Last one. Push it. Last one. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you, Accenture, for this opportunity here. I can see a lot of familiar faces here. I think the role of the chartered accountant is going to be different and not what it was, both on the practice side and industry side. And definitely you should work like a global companies like Accenture to get the experience, to guide the people around. And later, you should just not remain in employment. While in the employment, you be an entrepreneur. While you go out, become an entrepreneur, so that you can bring the best global practices to India. Because India is going to be the global economic power, which is going to set standards for the world. So that's going to be the vision. And New India's vision in 2022 will come true. We will be the part of that transformational journey. And thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you, sir, for sharing with us your insights, your expertise, and your